This episode of the Mad Rush podcast.
Y'all, my inbox is flooded with concerned moms and really sad girls out there after this fall rush. It was the most competitive that I've ever seen, and I've been doing this for a very, 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 very long time. There are people who are reaching out to me because they did not have successful rushes. But I have an entire chapter dedicated to if rush doesn't go your way. And so I'm actually just going to read it to you.
Welcome to the Mad Rush podcast. I'm Trisha Addix, the original sorority rush consultant. While the stories I have to share are nothing short of astonishing, this podcast goes beyond the wild client tales and sorority life. I'll be engaging with fascinating guests from both within and outside the Greek world, uncovering the surprising connections that bind us all together. Join me for a journey that's as entertaining as it is enlightening. Welcome to Mad Rush.
Y'all, I am so excited. My book, The Rush Bible, is available for pre-order from Simon & Schuster. It's coming out next May, but you can order it now, and it's going to be great for anyone who's considering going through sorority rush. This is the book for you. You can order it today. The link is in the show notes, and it's also on my Instagram at Rush with Confidence. And I can't wait to get this great information on how to crush sorority rush out to all of you. Anyway, thank you for listening, and I appreciate you. Okay, so today's format is a little different, and Katie Keogh and I touched on this last week, but y'all, my inbox is flooded with concerned moms and really sad girls out there after this fall rush. It was the most competitive that I've ever seen, and I've been doing this for a very, 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 very long time. And it was the most competitive. The interest in being a sorority is skyrocketed, and our clients from all over are seeing this on social media. They want to be a part of it. So there are people who are reaching out to me because they did not have successful rushes. And some of these people feel led on by some houses, and then they were blindsided on bid day. Even if they liked both of their choices, they were like, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to get my top choice. And then they didn't. And so now they're trying to figure it out. Y'all, rush is tough. So for today, I am going to, I don't know if y'all have ever seen, I shouldn't use this word on my podcast, but it's really freaking funny to me. Samuel L. Jackson read on I don't know, it was like a YouTube video or whatever. He was reading a children's book, and he sits down and he's like, it's like all calm. And he opens the book and he goes, "This is for children. Go the fuck to bed." And I died laughing. Anyway, that's the first time I ever saw somebody reading something just straight verbatim. But as you heard at the beginning of this episode, I've written a book. It's coming out in May. But I have an entire chapter dedicated to if rush doesn't go your way. And so I'm actually just going to read it to you. And hopefully you can take notes. You can, when the book comes out, you can have it for posterity. But hopefully this will help some of you who are reaching out to me. And as always, I'm available via DM to help you and give you advice. But this is, I think, really important to do. So my podcast is just going to be reading today. So this is chapter 13, If Rush Doesn't Go Your Way. Okay, there are no guarantees in rush. You might spend months pouring yourself into preparation, and for one reason or another that very likely has very little to do with you, you could end rush without a bid. This happens. I wish it didn't. As someone who has experienced this and made it through to the other side, I can tell you that two things are true. One, the pain of this trauma is very real. And two, this is not the end of the world. I mean that in the big picture sense. There's life beyond the Greek system. It's also true for rush itself. If you ended the process empty-handed and still want to go Greek, you have options. I know plenty of young women who have found success while utilizing their plan B. But before you can strategize about your next move, it's important to let yourself feel the feelings of not getting the thing you wanted. Those feelings are very real and very big. I know them all too well. When I opened my bid envelope to a blank card back in 1986, I was sure my life was over. It felt like every negative emotion a person could experience was descending on me at once. I was devastated, humiliated, scared, and hurt. The rejection cut deep. I thought the girls at FIMU had liked me. Had it all been a lie? I was genuinely terrified about how I'd survive the year ahead on a campus where I didn't know many people and where the people I did want to know better had, at least from my perspective, made it clear that I wasn't good enough to hang out with them. What I didn't realize was that the actives liked me plenty. I just had the very unlucky experience of mismatching. People who were worried for me reached out and found out that FIMU had mismatched a lot of girls that year accidentally. Thankfully, because of Maraba, this won't happen to you. If you were invited to 2 pref parties but ended up with a bid you didn't want, you can take some consolation in the fact that the actives recognize you as someone they could genuinely see in their chapter. Even if you only made it to sisterhood round, that is proof the actives liked you enough to want to get to know you better. Once I realized and saw that silver lining in my own situation, I made a game plan for my next move. I knew I belonged in Greek life, and I was determined not to let one heartbreaking outcome define my entire experience. So I regrouped. I reached out to the friends I'd made during the process, stayed connected with houses where I could be myself when I was hanging out, and kept showing up. This time with more intention, confidence, and a clearer understanding of how it all worked. I was reminiscing yesterday with a friend about an older group of FIMUs who took me under their wing and the crazy 9-hour road trip I went on with them. When the opportunity came to rush again, I didn't go in blindly. I went in informed. The same can be true for you. Whether you pursue continuous open bidding or decide to rush again next year, you're not starting from scratch. You're starting with experience. Every conversation you've had, every connection you've built, and everything you've learned along the way puts you in a stronger position moving forward. Continuous open bidding, or COB. Continuous open bidding, or COB, is the informal recruitment process that takes place in the semesters when there is no scheduled primary recruitment. Not every sorority on campus may participate in COB. Those that do are sororities that have open spots to fill in their chapter total. They may have open spots because they didn't fill their pledge class to capacity during recruitment, or an active may have dropped from their chapter throughout the year. Your campus Panhellenic will organize COB events for PNMs to attend, like a COB fair where all the sororities with bids to offer gather to mingle with PNMs. Sororities participating in COB will also host a number of different informal and intimate events to get to know PNMs better. These informal events will look differently for every organization. Sorority chapters might host a game night, roller skating, bowling, or schedule one-on-one coffees. COB events are designed to be less structured than primary recruitment, which can allow you to speak with more chapter members. That can be a real positive for you as a PNM. You might feel more comfortable in this relaxed setting, and you'll be able to connect with more actives and get a better feel for the chapter as a whole. Unlike primary recruitment, you don't need to attend the events of all sororities participating in COB. This is also a big win. You can pick and choose what you want to do. Because COB is so informal, it is not uncommon at several schools for a PNM to decide not to participate in formal recruitment and instead just wait for COB. This has worked for many people who know ahead of time that there's just no way they will be able to shine during the chaos of recruitment. Though that won't be you because you've got the Rush Bible in your pocket. But here's the thing. There's the official campus COB, and then there is the in reality. Sororities who like to remain elusive and think of themselves as exclusive, and they're out there, rarely participate in a COB fair or openly advertise that they're looking for new members. Yeah, not going to happen. But that doesn't mean those sororities don't sometimes have bids to give, and it doesn't mean that the ones who do openly participate are bad sororities. It is becoming increasingly true that all types of sororities do participate in COB because of release figure methodology. As a reminder, that's the system used during Rush to help chapters manage their invitations by setting limits on how many P&Ms they can invite back each round based on their past recruitment performance. The top, and that's in quotes, houses can invite a smaller number of P&Ms to participate in parties, while the bottom, and that's also in quotes, houses can invite way more. The goal is to make sure that more P&Ms are matched with houses that are truly interested in them and to prevent the most popular chapters from hoarding all the P&Ms early on. But it also means that the top, in quotes, sororities often have a very limited number of P&Ms they can invite back, even during the bigger rounds. The result of this is that a lot of P&Ms who those sororities might have viewed as viable candidates get unnecessarily cut. The other result is that P&Ms end up feeling discouraged by the mass cuts and drop from Rush altogether, creating a ripple effect of chapters that can't fill their pledge classes. This exact situation happened at a major state school recently. Because of RFM, a, quote, top house, which almost always gets its pick of P&Ms, finished Rush with a pledge class below quota and had 9 spots available. They wanted to extend these bids quickly. For financial reasons and optics, sororities always want to maintain their full chapter total. But the chapter president and recruitment chair didn't want to advertise the reality of their situation. To put it bluntly, it would have been bad for the brand. What happens next is this. The recruitment chair and chapter members began reaching out to P&Ms who didn't receive or didn't accept a bid. That means a whole lot of P&Ms who thought their lives were over on bid day suddenly got a second chance. And this time, the sororities are coming to them. So how do you tap into this Whisper COB network and make your interest in certain sororities known? You have to be proactive. You'll take a similar approach to when you were building your network in the months leading up to Rush, but instead of reaching out to everyone and anyone immediately after Rush, you'll intentionally reach out to the president or the recruitment chair of the sororities in which you're interested. This doesn't need to be overly formal. You can DM them this message. Hi, name. I ended up not taking a bid during Rush. I know your chapter doesn't normally extend COBs, but if anything becomes available, I'd be very interested. There are 2 important notes in this message. First, you say, I ended up not taking a bid. This framing emphasizes your choice and power in the process. Even if you got dropped from Rush completely against your will, this gives the situation a more positive spin. Second, you acknowledge that the chapter doesn't normally extend COBs. This is important. You don't want to accidentally insult the recruitment chair or president by insinuating that they always have a ton of COBs to give. Saying as much would be implying that their chapter isn't sought after and isn't particularly well run. That's the last thing you want to say to a group of people that you want to join. You can also reach out to any in-house actives that you know well and say the same thing. Just remember to be positive. Once you've registered your interest, continue to look for ways to connect with the actives in your favorite chapters. If there was an active you really connected with during Rush and you see her around campus, smile and be friendly. Maybe even ask her to get a coffee or meet in the cafeteria for lunch. Where I see girls make mistakes during COB is that they are so embarrassed by rejection that they avoid the very people who could help them the most. If you're still feeling a little bruised, remind yourself that this very likely had little to do with who you are as a person. I know it's hard, but don't take it personally. Sororities are trying their best during the chaotic recruitment process too. Most likely, if you've registered your interest and you are a viable candidate for a sorority with COBs, someone from the chapter will reach out to you. Like Rush dates or overnights, you'll be invited to small informal events for the members to get to know you better. All the same rules of Rush apply here. Don't be fooled by the casual nature. The 6 B's, boys, booze, brands, bucks, Bible, ballot, are still very much in effect. If anything, you need to take them even more seriously and always follow the guidelines for conversation and social media. That probably sounds like I just said you were grounded for the whole semester. Trust me, I wouldn't say it if I didn't think it mattered. The reality is your behavior is more important than ever. You might not want to talk about the 6 B's during a coffee with an active, but if you're giving all the dirty deets of a situationship to a friend of the library and one of the actives overhears you, That information is going to make its way back to the chapter. And while it might not ruin your chances of receiving a bid, it certainly isn't going to help. Getting your COB bid. Because COB is more informal, there isn't an official day where all the COBs are extended. After you've met with the actives and they've decided they'd like to offer you a bid, you'll likely receive a text with the formal invitation. Sometimes they'll even verbally extend the bid to you during a coffee meetup or a casual get-together. When you receive this bid, you'll typically be given 24 to 48 hours to respond. The odd thing about the COB process is that it's entirely possible for you to receive multiple bids. I've seen it happen more times than I can count. A friend's daughter, Charlotte, was really disappointed when she ended up dropping out of Rush after getting a pref invite from a chapter she didn't feel connected to at all. But Charlotte continued to hang out with the girls she connected with during Rush. It didn't take long for her resilience and hard work to pay off. A few weeks after the official bid day, with some coaching from me about COB, Charlotte received 2 bids in a single day from her favorite houses. She was totally overjoyed and overwhelmed. All of a sudden, she was the one with the final say. Talk about a roller coaster of emotions. After some reflection, Charlotte ultimately decided to go with a sorority where she felt like she had a slightly stronger connection to the actives. As soon as she made her decision, she gratefully declined the other chapter's bid. You can do this even if you only receive 1 bid. If you know it's not the sorority for you, tell them as soon as possible. Doing so not only frees you to continue pursuing COBs at other houses, but it also allows that sorority to extend the bid to someone who might genuinely want it. You can send a message like this. It's been so great getting to know you and the other actives, but at this time I'm unable to accept your bid. Nothing more, nothing less. You don't need to over-apologize or explain yourself, and you certainly don't need to mention other interests you have. A simple, polite no thank you is all you really need. I've seen it happen where the sorority just doesn't get the message and keeps checking in to see if your mind has changed. That's exhausting. After the second no thank you text, you can ghost them. That's on them. Once all, or at least a majority, of their COBs have been extended, many sororities will host a bid day to welcome their new members home and celebrate them. Admittedly, it will be a smaller bid day than the one that follows primary recruitment, but it will be special all the same. Even if the chapter has just 1 COB to offer, they'll typically assign an active to shower that new member with fun gifts and swag to act as a micro bid day celebration. Point is, you'll feel welcomed by your new sisters and excited about your new home. Enjoy it. It may not have been the rush or the bid day of your dreams, but the end result is the same. It is your bid day. You found your forever sisterhood, and if you did so through the COB process, you should feel proud holding your head high with the knowledge that you stayed committed to making your dreams a reality, even when others may have given up. Rushing as a sophomore and beyond. Many of the PNMs I work with come to me to prepare for a sophomore rush season, but I've also worked with juniors, even a senior, who have managed to find success. The rules and guidelines are generally the same as someone who's going through rush as a freshman, except there are 2 distinct differences. An older PNM has the significant advantage of being on campus and possibly being known by the people in Greek life. In the time between rush seasons, you can put those networking skills back to the test and do your best to connect with as many people as possible on campus. Having already been through rush, you have the advantage of experience and connections and a clearer idea of which houses with which you're most likely to click. You might even recognize a few actives you connected with during rush around campus. Obviously, you don't want to be a stage 5 clinger and join the dance team just because you know the recruitment chair of your dream sorority is a member, but you can be friendly to the actives who might be in your classes and take the initiative to reach out to them as you would with any other potential friend. The one important thing to note when building your on-campus network is that you don't want to talk exclusively or obsessively about Greek life. This is just like how you approach new connections in the months leading up to rush. You want to talk to these young women with curiosity, warmth, and a genuine interest in getting to know people as individuals, not just as potential gatekeepers. Remember, the actives are real people, not walking bid machines. You don't want to come across like you're only interested in someone because they could help you get into their chapter. Instead, treat every interaction the way you would if you were hoping to make a real friend. Because, spoiler alert, you just might. And that's the whole point, right? Finding people you connect with who get you and with whom you enjoy spending time. So keep showing up in the spaces where those relationships can form. Stay in touch with the people from your rush group or anyone in your dorm who's already involved in Greek life. You never know who might be willing to vouch for you when rush begins. More importantly, you never know who might become an actual friend. And that kind of connection is the real win, whether or not a bid comes with it. However, if a P&M is careless, the advantage of time and experience on campus can quickly turn into a serious burden. Take, for instance, Sarah, my senior P&M. She had a bad habit of getting too crazy at parties, and on one ill-fated night freshman year, she threw up all over the front steps of the Alpha Phi house. Not good. It didn't just wreck her chances with Alpha Phi, it also made other chapters want to steer clear of her. By the time Sarah was a senior, she'd grown up a lot, but that reputation was hard to shake. Sarah put in a lot of work to do damage control during the spring of her junior year to set herself up for rush in the fall. She ultimately did earn a bid, just not from Alpha Phi. If you're someone who just completed rush as a freshman and you know you want to try again next year, keep that cautionary tale in mind. It's a whole lot easier to avoid making a mistake than it is to clean one up. The other important tip for P&Ms who have been through rush before, be it at your current school or at another school from which you're transferring, is that you need to stay positive. When you talk about your previous rush experience, use the same language you would if you were DMing and active about COB. I didn't end up taking a bid. This rule extends beyond rush. Even with your friends, it's best not to complain about hurt feelings or bitterness about the previous rush's rejection. Don't fall into the commiseration game of scrolling through a chapter's Instagram, asking yourself petty questions like, how could they have taken her but not me? That kind of behavior might help you get over the asshat guy from down the hall, but it's not going to help you cultivate the kind of energy that is going to attract your forever sisters. You're looking forward, not back. You want to be the person who puts negative things in the rearview mirror. Here's the other thing. There's a high likelihood that the actives won't really care that you're rushing as a sophomore, especially at big schools. Actives know that the numbers sometimes just aren't in their favor. Some of them might have been COBs or sophomore P&Ms themselves. Many schools have an upperclassman quota, which is around 10% of the chapter's total quota, so you aren't competing, in quotes, with the zillions of freshman P&Ms for the same spots. With that in mind, don't stress yourself out trying to come up with a story to explain your rush history. Focus on the positive future that lies ahead of you and what you hope to gain from finding your Greek home. Once you receive your bid, no one will remember whether you were initiated as a sophomore or a freshman. It's like getting your driver's license. No one cares if you pass the test on the first try or the third. They just want to know if you can give them a ride. What matters is that you're the sister you promised to be. You weren't just prepping for rush, you are prepping for life. Whether or not you decide to pursue continuous open bidding or rush during your sophomore year, I want you to recognize that the skills you built during your rush prep don't just disappear overnight. Whether you continue to pursue Greek life or not, you already have the strategies and the confidence you need to connect with people in any space. It might be true that you realize you fit better with the theater kids than the thetas or on an intramural basketball team instead of a philanthropy committee. Sometimes the most confident decision you can make is opting out of rush altogether. In all honesty, one of my biggest wins as a rush consultant was helping Christy, a young woman whose grandmother signed her up for rush coaching, realize that Greek life wasn't for her. Through our conversation, Christy realized that joining a sorority would have helped her become more of the woman her family wanted her to be, not exactly who she wanted to be. But she struggled to know what paths would help her discover those other sides of herself. We talked a lot. We used all of the strategies and tips I share with you in this book to unearth her values and goals. What Christy realized was that she didn't want to be a Delta Gamma or a Chi Omega. She wanted to throw herself into her passion for art and theater. So She told her family she wasn't going to rush. They weren't super happy, but at that point, Christy didn't care how they felt. She was finally happy and excited about her future. Through our work together, she gained the confidence she needed to make this monumental decision and pursue what was right for her. I don't think I've ever been more proud of a client. I know the fact that this is one of my crowning achievements sounds totally backwards, but I'm not interested in forcing anyone into Greek life if they don't want to be a part of it. I want young women to be happy and feel like they are in an environment that is going to help them grow into the person they want to be, period. So even if this book was a well-meaning gift from a relative and you managed to read it cover to cover, I mean, come on, these stories are entertaining. It's okay if you still feel like sorority life isn't for you. The time you spent reading wasn't time wasted. You still learned important and valuable skills you can take with you into every area of your life. Here's what you're taking with you. The ability to introduce yourself with clarity and warmth. The practice of walking into a room and holding a conversation with someone you've just met. The habit of thinking about your values, your interests, your goals, and being able to articulate them on the spot. These aren't just rush skills, these are life skills. In college, you'll go to club fairs and info sessions. You'll apply for internships and study abroad programs. You'll find yourself at networking events, parties, group projects, and coffee meetups with professors. The self-awareness and intentionality you practice during rush will make all of these moments easier and more meaningful. You've learned how to be present, how to listen, how to follow up, how to show someone who you are even in a short span of time. That's not something everyone knows how to do, and it will set you apart. Let the fact that you have these skills be a source of confidence for you anytime you walk into a new room or meet a new group of people. Those are the kind of traits that make you a great sister, but even more importantly, a great person. Okay, so that was chapter 13, and it is admittedly plucked out of my book, and there are some references to prior chapters, but that is my consistent advice for when rush doesn't go your way. I'm here for you, and I know you're going to be great. In the meantime, check out my Instagram at Rush with Confidence for more tips. See you next week. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Mad Rush Podcast. If you are enjoying this podcast, please consider leaving us a 5-star review. For additional Rush tips, updates, and more, please follow me on Instagram at Rush with Confidence. If you would like to reach out to us or for more information, please email info@madrushpod.com. This podcast is produced by Collier Landry and Don't Touch My Radio. Copyright Trisha Addicts.